Welcome back to BLOCKTV, and you're watching Traders Take, where we get to look at the crypto charts and assess where the market is. And of course, on a red day like today, we like to turn to BLOCKTV's technical analyst, Joe Staz. How are you, Joe?
Excellent. How are you?
Doing well, except for, as I said, everything is red. Let's kick it off with Bitcoin as per usual. What is going on?
Yeah, just for the record, I think we might be experiencing a little bit of a Philly fake out here. We got some great buy indicators, and so far it's been a counter indicator. Now, one of the big things I said was that we're not going to get back-to-back sequential nines that are duds, and right now that's what it's starting to feel like. But what I'm here to say is, don't panic just yet. Personally, I'm not. I'm definitely shaken a little bit. But this is an opportunity that I took to enter 2 extra long positions. And so I'm either going to, a small capital, I'm either going to get liquidated or I'm going to make money. I'm riding this one out. And, in the event that I get, the price continues to move down, then I basically know what this pump did, which is just shake out a ton of and liquidate a ton of and stop out a ton of traders. And just resume normal bearish operations, and that probably puts my, I'll have to reevaluate at 73. I'll say that puts 73 right on the table, and if judging by how we get there, then my 4,500 target could be back in play. But for now, I'm taking, let's just take it step by step, right? 15-minute chart here, Bitcoin US dollar. We had a pretty steep breakdown, but keep in mind, this is the thing that keeps, annoying, like about this market. I feel like this is such a sucker style selling. Like the biggest volume candle, 1.2% move, is like the last candle, of this particular breakdown sequence. And this is just like such a signature to me of sucker selling. We went sideways and went down a bit further, and it seems like we're doing the same. We're kind of in a descending channel type formation. So on the 15-minute small time scale, things aren't looking great. But this is one of my #1 rules of sequential 9. Is here's our daily chart. Now let me bring this up to the other example of a 9 that was a dud, and it's right here. You can see that this was a 9. I'm sorry, my trackpad is a little slow right now. We have a 9 right here that was a 9 buy, and obviously it got shot through. I mean, what was this? A 12% move? Yeah. We broke down violently through the bottom of the descending triangle. Now we have it like I just don't ever bet on back-to-back dud 9s, but we have a 9 over here so far out the gate, 3.38% to the downside, and I'm pretty much I told you. I mean, I usually like that's why my #1 rule is like don't go into a 9 on the close of the 8. It's because you're talking about a trend right now, and on a 9 buy, that means that a trend is potentially exhausting to the downside. It's a pattern of saying 9 candles in a row have traded below a certain point of the previous fourth, before the close of the previous fourth, and so you have a sequence, right? And so you have the exhaustion of a trend, or the potential exhaustion of a trend, and I'm looking at this as an opportunity to say, all right, they definitely got the fake out in. It's 3% right now. This is just within like the confines of my parameters as to where I would enter a position or get stopped out. On a daily chart, I'd say about 3 to 5% is where you'd want to set your stop. Probably more on the 3% end. But so I threw in. I waited for this thing. I got down pretty low, and I'm in at like 78.60. So pretty much right where this, just above this white line. I'm long here, and you guys are either going to see me, looking terrible in the next week, or you'll see me looking, pretty happy.
So for the longest time, you were, for a couple of weeks now, you've been saying, I'm neutral, I don't want to call it yet. I feel like we could be bullish. There was for a moment because you said that you saw the demand. What are you thinking now?
All right, so yeah, this is honestly what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that if I had completely ignored that pump, probably around 8,700 would have been where I started getting bearish. Where like if this pump was like completely ignored, and say we were we're just trending, right? We're channeling, and say we stayed in the 9K range, then I probably would have been okay with that. But the thing is, like the level-headed bear would have said, if we get to 87 from here, then we're definitely headed back down to at least 83. That would have been my guess. And now like hitting 83 and not looking good at 83, we're sitting now at 78 flat. So I think the bear in the back of my head has been talking, and I might have been ignoring it a little bit. But like I said, I feel like the selling activity has been different in style than when it was definite bag holders leading the downside moves with the massive volume candle to the downside, and then allowing very low liquidity sweeps back up. So if you notice here, even on the daily, this is visible. We have massive volume in the buying, right? And then we have, obviously in this particular candle, there's a ton of wicks. So, I mean, that's a lot of reversal volume in there too, in this candle right here with all that wick space, okay? So there's a lot of volume, but there's also like very little volume, since I think it's possible that, this could be the equivalent. If I was looking at a 15-minute chart and I would see that there was a ton of volume in buying and then a low liquidity sweep pullback, then that would mean that buyers are pulling their orders so that they can buy cheaper Bitcoin because they're in an accumulation phase. And that's why I feel like it's possible. That's why I might have been not ignoring the bear in the back of my head, but kind of just not really feeling like the same rules apply, because I'm starting to see a shift in that dynamic. But pretty much if this 9 is a dud, then we're going probably down to 73, and then from 73 we're probably I'm going to skip the 68 to 7000 territory as like a major support area. 73 is probably going to be it, and if we break 73, then it's probably going to be like more like 62 to 65 would be my guess.
Okay, well, we always know what happens with Bitcoin. When Bitcoin's in the red, it trickles down to everything else, which includes Ethereum. Lately in the headlines a lot. That's it. Ethereum 1.0 is over. We can move into Ethereum 2.0. Serenity Phase 1. Everybody's so excited. Even still, Ether is sitting below $170. What can you tell us?
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you for flat out, Ethereum is a scam. But technically speaking, price-wise, it looks like this thing is just dancing with some dangerous numbers. Look at this. I mean, ignore less of this and look at more of this. We are just dancing right on like a horizontal support area. This is just looking pretty ugly to me. I mean, even this is on an 8, right? And so, I think it's possible for the market to have a small reversal here pretty soon. And maybe the fact that, I'm thinking that, others are thinking that, it's very possible that we don't have a reversal and we have a nasty breakdown. So that's like part of the trading game, is like you really have to be, 100% attentive, and you have to pay attention to things that you can rely on as far as indicators are concerned. But we're down, let's see, on the day we're down 5%, we're well below the 50-day moving average, starting to curl down. 200-day moving average, as you can see, is just starting to curl down. This could very well be like one of the weirdest markets that the cryptocurrency space has seen for an extended period of time. I'm talking years. We're 2017 high, 2018 into 2018 bear market with the parabolic uptrend early 2019. And it's just been so many fake outs, so many weird little like micro sequences playing out. And but I think in the grand scheme, this could very well be setting us up for something, some pretty long-term ugly activity to really make everyone make everyone's parents and grandparents hate what they're doing. Anyone that's in crypto.
Joe,
Ethereum.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Nope, keep going.
No, just to close off, Ethereum's looking bad. I don't like this distance from the 50-day moving average. I don't like this 8 this far away from a 9 on a 9 buy. We're definitely going to get a 9 buy. But I'm just wondering how strong is it going to be? Is it and Bitcoin's is not looking strong right now. So it's possible that altcoins will, and that will also instigate some price moves to the upside in Bitcoin. But I feel like if you're selling into a 9 buy, which is a very, very powerful, strong, reliable indicator, I almost feel like I think this is a big game, and I think if you're a better gamer, then you're able to play other people, and selling massive chunks and pulling buy side liquidity into a 9 and letting the price spook a lot of people out of the market. That's an excellent game to play to buy cheaper Bitcoin and buy everyone else's cheaper Bitcoin. So that's my position right now. Or same with Ethereum, same concept applies. So I just think right now I'm willing to pull some hair out, tomorrow if things don't start bouncing. But for now I'm just gonna let it ride.
So Joe, you started, and I know you're not like a tech person, right? We're talking about strictly about crypto. We're talking about cash. But you started this off, and you're very open about this. Ethereum is a scam. Now, Ethereum is a platform, right? There's a currency associated with it. It's Ether. We know this. Does that mean that you think that Ether and Ethereum will one day disappear? Like, how do you think that this scam you're saying will resolve itself?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is pretty much like scaling has been one of the biggest conversations in the space, right? I mean, Bitcoin is just solely a medium, like its goal is to be a medium of exchange and a store of value, right? And so just from the currency perspective, in a blockchain, just only referring to currency and its application on a blockchain, we have had difficulty scaling, and it's working and all that, right? So Bitcoin is now thinking outside the box with things like the Lightning Network that have been in development for a number of years and are now to the point where you have an app where you can transact using the Lightning Network instantaneously and send a single Satoshi to someone for free. So we have scaling solutions and we have improvements in this tech, but Ethereum is just like a constant tease. It's like we're talking about scaling something with its only use case as a currency. Now try to scale a world supercomputer, some of these other things that they've called it, like Tron calls it their decentralized internet and stuff, is basically the same thing. Basically just a platform, like you said, right? And how are you going to scale a platform to handle all this data, especially when you have validators validating a blockchain, right? And in order to synchronize a node to become a validator who can vote on Ethereum improvement proposals, which would make the blockchain decentralized, allowing participants to be able to vote, or any participant for that matter, to be able to vote on an Ethereum improvement proposal. Well, if you can't sync a node because the blockchain is so large, so heavy that you can't get to a full synchronization because you run into fatal errors, which is an experience that I've seen play out multiple times, then you're not really going to have a decentralized ecosystem. You're going to have Ethereum improvement proposals that are controlled by legacy node validators, people that have been, validating for a very long time. And then you're going to have, maybe someone that can introduce some new tech that, might help them, validate. I don't know that, like you said, it's not my area of expertise, but I just see that pool of, voting power getting smaller and smaller in time.
Right. I think many people would argue that that's happening with most mining pools, let's say, specifically with Ethereum. 2.0 is meant to fix that. But again, that is a time will tell thing once that's implemented and they transpose their systems. Now, moving on. Yes?
One thing about mining, people forget, mining has very little to do with voting. There's the BIP9, Bitcoin Improvement Proposal 9, removed voting rights from miners. So miners literally just put out plug-in machines to solve the SHA-256 cryptographic algorithm. They have little to no say in the vote. And that's why there was such a strong significance in the user-activated soft fork of Segwit. It was basically a story of users chose to implement this software upgrade to their validator nodes, forcing miners to have to upgrade their software as well, because miners are always going to be incentivized to mine the most profitable chain. Ethereum, on the other hand, it has a ton of issues. Yeah, we can probably go down that rabbit hole, but I just wanted to distinguish the difference. Mining isn't a vote. Mining is actually just solving an equation, and that's the only say that they get in the matter, on Bitcoin at least.
Okay, well, shifting gears there to Bitcoin Cash. Roger Ver coming out with a $200 million fund to develop Bitcoin Cash, just like, and this is a semi-quote here, just like Bitcoin and Ethereum do. Even still, again, just like we saw with Ethereum, BCH is down. What's happening?
Oh, like the first thing that comes to mind is you got to know when to fold them. I mean, that is a terrible idea. Throwing $200 million at such a dying asset. I mean, this asset's like so weak that it even hard forked from itself. It was supposed to be like its own thing. But on the technical level here, we were talking about this 125 for a while, and our failure to really get ahead of it And here's our breakdown. We broke down violently, and I think I even said that the 50 wouldn't hold because we blew through it right away. 50 is not holding. Didn't hold. It just blew right through it. So I think this is just a top. This is pretty confirmed now, obviously. And I think we're probably where would I say we're headed? I honestly think the next 3 days to 4 days are at a minimum are a possible market bounce, at least a Bitcoin bounce, but I would believe that would be an experience shared by the wider market space. So I'm a little curious. This has broken down pretty strongly. Okay, I might want to say that yeah, we can hit this setup trend line $212, and that would be a good bottomy bounce target. But I'm looking for a bounce now for the next 3 days or so. I think the market's been suffering a little while, and we haven't really seen any upside. Now, like I said, I'm in on this bounce. I have my money where my mouth is, and I'm riding this one. My rule number one is don't get liquidated. I did not set stops because this isn't an all or nothing trade to me. This bounce, if it doesn't happen, then I'm a bear. I'm going short, and I'm staying short until something happens, maybe closer to the halvening or something like that. But if this market doesn't bounce here in the next few days, then I'm going to get very bearish. So I'm expecting a bounce in the next 3 to 4 days. I could be completely wrong, in which case then, Bear Joe is back. I'm just going to be the, unfortunate bringer of bad news. I was really hoping that this is going to be a bull run, but, the wider market space is suffering a little more violently than Bitcoin's price action, 5% against Bitcoin's 3. So, things aren't looking good for Bitcoin Cash. And if things don't bounce soon, then I'm going to say that this setup trend line is in danger at 212, and lower lows are on the table. I'm curious. Yeah. Definitely lower lows. We could go back much lower. I mean, maybe even double digits. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, it seems like Bitcoin Cash had just a little grace period before, which is
Yeah.
when we started, noticing it together and kind of seeing where it went. But it looks like that was short-lived. Shifting gears one last time to Joe's first cryptocurrency love, now hate relationship, Litecoin, down like the rest of the market. What's happening with Litecoin?
Litecoin. All right. So let's take a look. Yeah, that is funny. Funny that you remembered that. I first bought, actually very first bought Bitcoin, but in 2017, when I started choosing to get into this space, it was with Litecoin, unfortunately. I was dumb. I was young and dumb, young and stupid. All right, I'm trying to zoom in here. We're on a 9 buys, very similar to Bitcoin. And this thing's a dud so far. We're down 5.7%. So it seems like altcoins are suffering a bit more. I mean, I'm really wondering, what's going on that would cause such a terrible play on such a powerful technical move. We're trading below the 50. Litecoin's everything's looking ugly right now. I mean, this is it almost looks like Bitcoin Cash with that, pretty clear, well-defined top and a breakdown. We didn't obviously come up and fight the 125, but there's a bit more of a distance between these moving averages, 50, 125, and 200. I think that the 200 is already curling down. The 125 is flying down. The 50 is now getting a little confused there, but now it's starting to take its steps down. I think that, this is just looking ugly to me. I think that this white line, $49.12 right over here, is in danger. Again, if this market doesn't bounce very soon, 3 days, 5 days, starting tomorrow for 3 to 5 days, or starting today for 3 to 5 days, if this market doesn't bounce, then I'm going to say that Tether exit has probably had the majority to do with the reason why any of this crypto space pumped. And I'm going to go back to being a full-blown bear and saying that, yeah, normal organic market activity is taking over. And we're probably not looking at big bag holders leading the charge, leading dumps, and in shattering the hopes and dreams of traders. But I would say that this is probably just going to be an organic grind or a breakdown, in grind / breakdown, big red candles, small red candles mixed in, all the way back down to my minimum low of $4,500 for Bitcoin, which would mean for Litecoin probably somewhere in the $32 range, $25 range. But I think Litecoin could go lower. Keep in mind, Litecoin's a proof of work protocol, and they lost 60% of their hash. I'm surprised they haven't been 51% attacked, but that just goes to show you how little of a shit people care about Litecoin. It's just like it's a garbage coin. It's a complete scam in my eyes. Charlie Lee was the greatest exit scammer and greatest technical analyst one of the greatest technical analysts I've seen. So he sold the top to his applauding bag holders, and I think this asset it just really provides no value to the space. So I mean, this could go to zero. Like that was one of the first things I said a couple months ago. If there was going to be an altcoin apocalypse, Litecoin would be one of the ones on the chopping block to me, in my eyes.
So we're saying 3 to 5. This is like a kind of summary here. You're saying 3 to 5 days till we know what's happening more or less. We're thinking it's organic, but again, we have to wait it out just a little bit further to kind of see where the market is. Thank you very much, Joe Sass, for joining us and breaking that down today. It was lovely as usual. And for all you folks at home watching at blocktv.com, keep on watching for more crypto and blockchain news.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.